Hey everybody, it's Master Galengeist here, bringing you my kind of continued review on Fairy Tail Season 1. Now, I say it's kind of like a continued one, because evidently what I'd gotten through the Microsoft thing wasn't like the complete first season, which kind of makes sense because it ended at a weird spot, because Netflix got what it called Season 1 of Fairy Tail, and it had like a lot more episodes, so like 40 something, and I was able to get through it, but I it still went kind of how I thought it was, and I never thought that I would think that the main things were more filler-like than what I would have liked, and that they moved at a pace that I felt was kind of too fast. Because after the whole Deliora bit, where we get into it, Deliora's unleashed and everything, and you find out that it was pretty much weakened to a point that it died anyway, and it just really got confusing as shit, because we got the resolution of the Deliora thing, we find out that the inhabitants of the islands are actually demons, and we're kind of looking like humans because of the excess radiation from trying to revive Deliora. Deliora died because the protective case that their master put on it pretty much sucked its magical energy to a point that, like, one hit pretty much killed the damn thing. And it's like, okay, they pretty much got no repercussions other than, like, a body switch episode. Then we get kind of stuff with the Loki guy, who we find out is a celestial spirit who pretty much not forced, but his celestial wizard was being a dick to the rest of the celestial spirits and pretty much kept himself out to stop her from doing stuff, so that way she couldn't go on missions and all that, to force her to be more respectful, but she went on a mission anyway and died. So he's been kind of like banished by the Celestial King, but Lucy was able to reinstate him to the celestial part and became her, she became his celestial wizard and all that. And I was like, okay, that's alright, but it just kept going on like really fast. And then we get to a part where we find out like the one dude on the Magic Council is actually just a hologram kind of projection who's working with Gray's master's daughter, who they thought was dead, who, after we find out towards the end of the season, wasn't a lackey for this Jalal kid who had ties to Urza because her and her group of friends were pretty much forced by necromancers as children to try to build a resurrection kind of device for their Lord Zareth. And then, of course, they kidnapped Urza and the rest, and we get this whole Heaven's Tower kind of thing, trying to remake the world, but actually Jalal was possessed by the spirit Zareth, who was trying to be like a god to these necromancers, but actually was just a dark wizard trying to be a dick, is what I got. It wasn't very clear, and I was like, what? Because and before that happened, we got like the Phantom Lord Guild had assaulted the Fairy Tail Guild because they were tasked with bringing Lucy back to her father, but were pissed off at Fairy Tail being like more prestigious than them, and it was like, what the fuck? I mean, there are good fight scenes and everything, but it was just like mindless action. That was like, okay. We got like another Dragon Slayer in there, Gajiel, and he was an iron one, which was kind of cool, but you kind of dilute the effect when you get into the third kind of main conflict after the whole Heaven's Tower thing, is that Loxus, Makarov's grandson, pretty much forces Fairy Tail to fight each other because he wants to take over the guild and thinks his old man is a dick and should just step aside and he's making the whole guild weak. And we find out that he is a Thunder Dragon Slayer and still beats up on like Natsu and all that, but Natsu does beat him at the end, like Natsu beats Jalal and all that, but it was really just I thought that there were some nice character moments within the rest of it, but it's not really that well done. We jump too quickly from everything. I've listed about like a couple arcs worth of conflicts that happened in one season, and very shortly too. It was just like, what? It didn't really kind of like draw me in, and also the characters don't really. I mean, I'm used to certain anime just like powering him up, but it would just be like weird kind of ways that would happen. Like they'd say that like Natsu would finally tap into his power, but then he can't for the rest of it, and then he eats like the crystallized tower to gain more power to like knock out Jalal, and it's weird because certain names just start like running together, like Gagio, Jalal. It just goes so fast. It's very hard to differentiate what happened. And I mean, it was nice to like build out Urza's backstory as being a slave as a child and why she uses her armor and everything. And also Lucy, who didn't get that much attention at home, and she's not seeking attention. She just wants to be herself. And that was pretty nice to see as she confronted her father and say, I'm done with this. Do not come to me again. We're done. And she wants to make it on her own. That's really cool. There's nice little character moments like that throughout. But then weird shit starts happening. Like, the Gagio dude beat the shit and pretty much was enjoying, like, hurting people in Fairy Tail. And then he is, like, accepted into Fairy Tail. Now, granted, used as a double agent to try and spy on Makarov's son, who he had kicked out because we'd seen in that part that he was being a dick and doing stupid stuff. That was another part where Loxus had a beef against him. It's like, what the fuck? There's too much shit going on in such a short time period. It's like, you're just kind of like fucking everything up. It's like, slow down. There's a good concept here. Cool fights and there's characters that you could go into, but the execution is sloppy and just kind of like, what? No! What? You just, Like with the whole resolution of Zeref, we find out that the one woman who is like Gray's master's daughter, I only say that because it just becomes so long of a character list of like, what? And it's not, they don't repeat the names often enough sometimes. You're like, I have no idea what's going on! Was like in cahoots with Makarov's son, and it's like, what? Okay. And Jalal was just left to die or whatnot. And then we see another dude who looks like Jalal in the Loxus art who's actually missed again that throws off Urza and is like, well, okay, I'm not who you think I am. And he walks away like, great. I don't really care at this point. You've just thrown plot twists in for no frickin' reason whatsoever. It's like, no, why? Keep it straight. A little simple. It doesn't have to be completely like, he went to point A to get to point B. I just need to know that there's not going to be every so often plot twist. He was a potato. Plot twist. It was actually a rhubarb. Plot twist. The rhubarb had a brother from another dimension named Steve, who's actually an elephant related to a mouse. And you learn that in like 5 episodes with no power-ups and no logical reason for why the mouse is sitting in the corner crying. I know that sounds weird, but it started going loopy on me, and I'm like, I kind of been enjoying this, but I don't know what the fuck's completely going on. So, if you kind of just want to get into it for, like, the character stuff that you can kind of get out of it, and just, like, the funny, goofy antics that happen, because there's good comedy and good kind of, like, funny, goofy things that, like, go on, like the Body Switch episode. That was funny. That was interesting. There's, like, good stuff like that going through, but, like, when you try and get to the, like, overall arc, it just gets really messy, really fast, and it's just, like, a lot faster than, like, anything else I've seen. Sometimes it takes longer for, like, the deconstruction to break down, but this is, like, the first season, and it's like, what? It's just, like, a mess. You obviously didn't know what kind of, like, structure you're going for unless you're just like, alright, I got this arc idea, and then you're just like, okay, now we gotta jump to this arc, and just like, have no kind of like, buffer room. I'm usually against filler. I watched Dragon Ball Z. I know when you've got like, filler problems. I've heard of Naruto and stuff like that, and those filler problems and everything. But, if you have it to such a point that it's so condensed that you go boom, 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 and you're like, these logically don't connect, you have a narrative problem. And you have a power problem. Because why does Natsu beat some people sometimes? It needs to make logical sense. Goku and them getting like a power up, or like Naruto learning a new technique or whatnot, that makes sense. But if you're in the same battle and you somehow, woo, power, and then it's not like explained or explored enough, it's like, so you're just gonna pull that button and pull that switch and pull that right out to like explain your way out of like a narrative hole. That's kind of where I went towards the end of this. And I'm like, then I also kind of like wikied and looked at where it was kind of going, and I'm like, okay, I get this, I understand it, I'm pretty much done with this. Because it just gets even more confusing. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. So I would only recommend watching this if you kind of like the humor and the kind of sporadic character moments. There's really not enough character moments to happen throughout to say that if you're really character driven, that this would like satisfy that need. It's just if you're like, you're really into fights and there's like some character moments that can pull you through. Otherwise, the narrative's gonna be like, I don't know what's going on. And it's just mainly the consistency of clarity of what's going on that isn't well done throughout this. So those are my opinions on the kind of like whole season, I believe. At least what Netflix had put up. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.